Hello everyone and welcome to my Java programming tutorial. In this video we will talk about primitive data types and variables in Java. Most of you are coming from Python, or maybe you have seen like different languages. Python don't really use data types. So what is a data type in Java? A category or set of data values. So when you are defining a variable, you need a data type. Internally, computer stores everything as zeros and ones. So computer is coded at the back end with the ASCII chart, which is American Standard Code of Information and Interchange. That chart is designed whether it's a symbol, it's a string, integer, double, float, character, like any of those numbers. Computer will convert all of those things as zeros and ones. But when it comes to the high level language part, where we have to write code, we have to tell what is the data type of that value, in which I will say in which category you want to take the input from user or give input to computer. We total have like 8 simple types of numbers and strings, but the most common are integer, double, character, and boolean. Integer, int, is the short form we use. Double is for real numbers. Char we use as characters for single characters, and you have to declare those characters within single quotation marks. Then we have boolean, which is for true and false, logical value, on, off. And for integers, it can be a positive number or a negative number, but it has to be a whole number. And for double, we have real numbers. So again, a positive number or a negative number both come into the real number. If you have a decimal number or if you have a point between the numbers, it means that's a real number, and that goes into the double category. Double and float is quite similar. That double can keep up to like more bigger value of real number as compared to a float. So here comes the variable part. So we need variable to store the values. Variables are used along with the data types in Java. So if you have to declare a variable, you need to declare the data type as well, like what data type of variable you need. First of all, what are variables? A piece of computer's memory that is given a name and type and can store a value. So variables are temporary holding your values. For example, if you have a big equation, let's say quadratic formula, right? And that quadratic formula has been used in the whole code for like 100 times. You don't have to remember, and to avoid mistakes, that's why we declare variables in our code. You just create one variable, you write the whole quadratic formula to and store that formula into a variable, and you are using that variable name throughout your code. That will make it more easy and readable. So let's take a look how you get started with the variables. So here we have some examples. You have an integer. So this is an int. Int, remember, it was the whole number, so you are only keeping an integer number. So first of all, you declare the data type, and then you declare the variable name. So variable name can be anything. I highly recommend that make sure that the variable name goes along with what you are declaring so far. So for example, if you are asking name from the user, variable name must be a name. Like you can say NAME, like the name, age, GPA. So that don't use XYZ, it's not recommended, because as this is a small example, so we have XYZ over here, but they are not recommended, because when after 5 years, if you're looking at your code, you will be really confused that what this X is for, what this Y is for, what this Z does. Instead, if you have like a variable name which is more readable and like more making sense to your code. So let's take a look how these variable work. First of all, open Eclipse. We have let's do some simple example. We will calculate area of a circle. So this is the header comment, which we talked about in our last video. I highly recommend that you put the header comment in which you mention about your class, what this will be talking about, your name, and then what this code does. So let's say this program will calculate area of a circle. So for area of a circle, you need to know the formula, and the formula to calculate area of circle is pi r square. So to calculate the area, so pi, we know that the pi is a constant value. So there is a difference between variables and constant. So what variable, by just the name vary, it means it will change throughout your code and you can change that value. Again, variables are temporary holding your values, temporary memory space, right? And but constants on the other hand is the opposite of variables. Constant means you cannot change that value. So when you cannot change the value, so what you do is you use the final keyword. As you can see, as I put the final as and when to use, for example, just like in this example, we are calculating area of a circle, so the constant is pi. Can you change the value of pi? No, we cannot change the value of pi, and you don't have to remember that value. You just declare the value as a constant at the top. So the value of pi is final double p, pi is 3.14159. So this is the value for pi, and what you have to do is you will be using this pi throughout your code. You will not be using this number in your code, so that makes it easier and make me recognize as a programmer that this is a constant, because constants are declared if all the letters capital. Okay, so now we have to calculate pi r square. We have the value of pi. Now we need the value of r. So what is r? R is the radius, and let's declare radius double radius. Again, this is a variable, and this variable is equals to, you can assign any value. Let's say 20. I'm giving 20. As this is a double, it will automatically put 0.0 because of this double with my radius. Now we have double radius, and then what we have to do is we have to do a formula, which is pi times radius times radius, pi r square, and semicolon. Now you have this whole formula. What Java wants you to do is that keep or save this formula into a variable. What variable? Let's declare the data type first, which is double, and I will say area equals to pi r square. So if you just take a look at the variable name, they are so readable that even after 5 years, when I take a look at my code and I read the description and I take a look at the formula, I can recognize that what this code is doing so far. Instead of radius, if I say XYZ or something, that will not make sense at all after like 5 years. So double area equals to pi r square. This is the formula. Let's display our result, which we will be using system.out.println statement, double quotation marks. It means whatever you write inside of double quotation mark will be printed as it is. Area of a circle is, now put a space and then separate it with a concatenation operator. So this plus sign is known as a concatenation operator, means that this is the end of the string, and whatever comes after the string, make it part of that string. So we use it as to differentiate between the variable name and the string. So what will happen, that it will take the value of area and will concatenate, like will join it with this statement. So let's run our code and see what we have so far. As we can see, no red cross, so it means there is no error. So area of a circle is this for the radius 20. So this is the area. So as you can see, area of circle is printed as it is. I didn't know the value of area, so whatever the calculation was done was held by my variable, which was area. And with variables, data types are must. So we have seen a constant. Let's make a comment. So you can make a comment that this is a constant. So it means that you cannot change the value of pi in your code. And let's make a comment that this is a variable. It means variable means that this value can be changed. So how you can change? Maybe on the next line I change my mind and I say radius will be equals to, let's say 50 and semicolon. And this is how you declare. So once you have declared that variable, you cannot redeclare. So as you can see, I just called the variable name and changed the value. I didn't call or declare the data type again. That will be an error. Again, if I want to declare another variable, that with double, I cannot declare the same variable which is already been declared. So if I say double radius equals to 40 something, That's an error. You can see on the left side, duplicate local variable. So you cannot declare duplicate variable. If you just remove the s, that would be fine, because that's gonna be a totally different variable name. So this is the duplicate part. These are like compiler errors. These are like syntax errors which compiler won't let you compile. So as long you have red cross, it means those are syntax errors. So this is the small example of calculating area of circle, in which we have seen how we have declared the data type, how we have declared variables, and how we have declared a constant. So let's switch back to the slides. And this equal sign between the variable and the value is known as the assignment operator. We also call it that like equal sign. This is in programming known as assignment operator, which means assign the value on the right side to the left side. These are compiler errors which we have talked about. So for example, if you declare int x and you say system.out.print x, that will be an error because x is not holding any value. This is known as declaration part. This is known as initialization part. Initialization means that you are declaring the variable and you are assigning the value at the same time. This is variable initialization and this is variable declaration. This will be valid if you say x UR equals to 8 and then you print x, then now x have some value and you can print that value. Okay, so let's move on to another example and see an advantage of using tables. So we have been given an example. Let's copy into our Eclipse and see how we can improve this code. So let's take a look. So as you can see, this code is not readable. So what this code is doing is calculate the total of receipt. So as you can see, 8% is the tax and 15% is the tip. So this is the subtotal, 38 plus 40 plus 30. And then what you are doing is taking the same value, calculating the tax, taking the same value, calculating your tip, and then adding all of those things at the end. So this code can be improved with the help of variables. Let's take a look. First of all, I will remove this whole line and before removing it, what I will do is I will take this statement, Control X, and what I will do is I will create a variable. As you can see, we are using some decimal numbers in our code, so we will declare double. So I will say subtotal will be equals to and print the whole thing. Print after my variable declaration over here, and then with the help of concatenation operator, I will display subtotal. And then what I will do is with the text, now again, as you can see, this 38 plus 40 plus 30 is quite similar to my variable name subtotal. Have semicolon at the end. Now you are printing the total. Again, with printing total, as you can see how you are printing the total, first of all you have subtotal, right? And what we will do is, okay, one more thing what you can do is, instead of printing this, okay, this was tax, Control X. Before this you can declare a variable double tax, UR equals to Control V and a semicolon, and over here you can just say TAX, tax. That's more readable now. And take a look over here as Control X, and we can say double tip equals to Control V semicolon, and I will print tip. And over here I will say subtotal plus, okay, one more thing I forgot, concatenation operator over here, okay, and then plus tip plus tax, and you can just remove this last statement. This is the total. And now just take a look how you have improved when you run your code. Okay, take a look at the total. So what total is doing so far is just concatenating everything. It's not giving us the right total. What we have to do is we have to put parentheses with our equation so that it can recognize the difference of this plus sign and this plus sign. So both are like the addition operator, but one is acting as a concatenation operator and the other one is acting as an addition operator. So now you need to put the parentheses just so first it solve that equation first and then assign the value. So now let's run and see what our total is, and this is our total, and this is how we have fixed the code provided. It was already fixed, we just have like made it more readable with the help of variables. So this is the use of variables and data types. This is how you use it, and this is how they are improving our code. That's it for this video. Thank you. Bye bye.